Hello, it's Maggie the Cheshire Crafter here. I've been into Chester Town Centre today and I wanted to go into the charity shops to top up my fabric stash. And I'm particularly on the lookout for linens, and I'm pleased to say I found 7 items in 2 charity shops. And because it's coming towards the end of the summer season, really, as far as the shops are concerned, they're trying to get rid of garments. And I was fortunate to find some items in the sale, which is brilliant for me because normally I pay full price. Now there are some full price items here and I'll show you why I was prepared to pay full price for those. But let me show you first of all what I found in the British Heart Foundation charity shop and then Hope House Children's Hospice charity shop, and they're both situated in Frodsham Street in Chester. And this was on the ladies' blouse aisle. This is a Marks and Spencer's hip-length tunic top. And although there's some interesting embroidery detail, there is a word for that when it's cut into, and I just can't think what the word of that is. Although there's some interesting detail on the tunic itself, I'm not quite sure how I would use that. But I'll keep that in one piece as I take it apart. What's interesting in this is there are 2 large pieces of fabric sewn together for the front and the back. And then there is about a 2-inch hem turnover. I think the reason that this was in the sale, this was half price, was that they're coming to a point now where if they don't get rid of the garments, they're going to have to do a stock take and hold on to them until next year. So this is a really good time. We're talking about we're getting into the middle of August, aren't we, in the UK? This is a good time to go looking for linens because they're not going to be brought out over the winter. Now, the reason I think this one was in the half-price sale is when you actually look at it, you can see that there's a certain amount of fading on the sleeves and around the collar. And that's more noticeable when I got to the till and I looked at the colour, the pristine colour of the hem against the sleeve. I don't know whether it's quite as obvious as it is in real life, but there is a factor there. Now, I don't mind that factor in linens. It's certainly not that it's dirty, but I would need to take that into account when I'm trying to place that piece of fabric if I'm wanting a pristine look. Let me show you the back of this. The other thing I looked at was sometimes Marks and Spencer's put dates on the labels, and I've looked at all the Marks and Spencer's clothing I bought today and none of them have got dates on them. So I'm assuming that's just wear and tear, or it might have just been sitting in somebody's wardrobe for quite some time. There are some darts down the back here that are folded over, so that is a long piece of fabric there, and that cost me £3.50. Let's look at my next item. The next 3 items I find in the men's shirt rails, and I really don't know why this was in the half-price sale. It is a long sleeve blouse or a long sleeve shirt, and they'd had it on the rail for a month. Now, this is a lovely coral colour for me. It was by Next. I think if you can see, you know that I'm always interested if there's a contrast at the collar and cuff. And the inside yoke here is this interesting coral blue, and that's in a soft cotton fabric. There is a patch pocket on the front. There isn't a contrast at the cuff here. It is the same inside and out. Let me show you the back. Yeah, I thought so. The back has been folded over. So again, that's one piece of fabric on the back with a fold. And because there are large, long sleeves there, I'll get a great deal of fabric. That cost me £2.20. Bargain. I've actually made a mistake with this item. It's not linen, it's cotton. I paid full price for it at £4 and I think it was worth it. Now, although it's cotton, I felt it and it feels like linen, it looks like linen, it'll wash like linen. So as far as I'm concerned, when I'm looking for that colour of fabric for a linen quilt, this is going to become linen. Say patch pocket on the front. And on the back, you've got the same fold over of fabric. Although the short sleeves, that was certainly worth £4. So I've just checked the label to make sure, and I'm back to linen again. Now, although this was full price at £6, it is a short-sleeved men's shirt, and I'm always wary about paying full price for those. But knowing that I haven't got this colour in my stash already, it's a gorgeous magenta, good quality, M&S Blue Harbour linen, and it's been very well cared for. I don't mind buying this shirt at that price, because if I'm wanting that colour, it's going to be next year before I find it, and I want to start a linen quilt fairly soon. Let's take a look at the shirt itself. Nothing remarkable on the front, and the back is exactly the same as all the others. One piece of fabric. That makes those very easy for me to take apart. So I paid £6 for this shirt. So now from Hope House Children's Hospice charity shop. In the sale rail, I found these beige linen trousers. Now, all summer long, I've been telling you about trying to find very simple trousers where there's a simple waist and the pocket doesn't encroach too much, which means that from each leg, front and back, if I were to take a jelly roll strip, a 2.5-inch or 3-inch strip right the way down, I get a lot of fabric. If I wanted to take, perhaps up to 8 inches across, I'd certainly get a 6.5-inch block from that front. But I want to show you something significant here. These trousers were George, which was George at Asda. I think I can't quite work out what's going on with that belt. It might be 2 pieces of fabric separated. Let me see the back. Okay, there are no patch pockets on the back, and that's a fine piece of fabric length. But let me show you something that's worth noting about this and how I intend to overcome it. If I'll just use those pieces in patches if I need to. And also these front sections are quite nice. They'd go nice on a bag. Now the pockets are only acetate on the inside, so it isn't a linen lined pocket. However, I want to draw your attention, if you don't mind, to the crotch here. These are ladies' trousers, and you can see that they've been not only well worn, they're not soiled, but they're well worn because they're coming apart a little bit at the seams. But I want to show you the bobbling on them, on the linen there. Now, I'll either get a there is something that is a bobble remover, but I don't think I'll be doing that. Probably what I'm most likely to do is to create that into a triangle point and just take a rotary cutter and just cut all that out, because it's more trouble than it's worth to me for trying to recover and reclaim something that's rather threadbare, rather ugly, and I wouldn't want that in a quilt given to me, would you? So I think I'm probably likely to cut that out and probably dispose of that. I don't think that's even recyclable. There is a bit of a small hem with a turn up, so that's worth reclaiming. Right, that's the trousers. Now that was the only item I found in that shop that was in the sale area that I wanted, but the other I spotted immediately, and you'll see why now. It's a linen dress by Next, and if you've watched my previous videos you'll see that I found this item donated in charity shops, and this is about the third dress of this design that I'm going to take apart, and I know in taking it apart how much fabric I can get from it. I paid full price for it for that very reason, and the 2 patch pockets, a little bit of braiding as well, a really nice hem. This dress has been looked after, so there probably won't be very much waste on it. And over the back there are 2 pieces joined together, so that's all one piece of fabric going down to the braiding here. So as soon as I recognised the design, I knew I wanted to have that, and that's added to my white linen stash. It was made for Next, it's a size 16, and I paid £6.50 for that dress. And finally, this is the most expensive item that I bought today, and if you've watched any of my previous videos, you know that I'm a fan of William Morris designs, and this year Next teamed up with William Morris and they created a range of clothing items. This dress is actually put together where the bust line is here. So there's no dart. Oh yes, there is. There's a darted bust and it's been turned over. So fortunately the fabric hasn't been cut there. The cut of the dress goes from the V at the top down to the hip below a pocket on both sides. You can see how it's not pattern matched, which means that I've got an oblong just above where the pattern starts to change with a little bit of a turnover. Yeah, not much of a turnover, just a little bit, but the design starts to change from there upwards. Oh, actually it's a different piece of fabric. I can feel there's a seam there. So this piece of fabric is a separate design, isn't it, from this one? How interesting is that? Now, there are 2 pockets in this, but sadly the pockets are white cotton. So it's only the little bit of fabric on the inside that I can rescue. There are 2 long ties on the back that help stop it falling off the shoulders probably. And I think let's just look at the back. How interesting. The design is the same. The design is actually repeated on the back. So even though you haven't got bosoms on your back, there's obviously no dart there for the bust, but there is still this huge cut into the fabric to give me almost 6 triangular pieces and then 2 long pieces on that. So that's really going to be interesting to take apart. Was made for Next. It's a petite size 6, and I paid £7.50 for it. And I did that because of the pattern design, the William Morris print, and for the colour. So all in all, I've had an interesting linen trip today in Chester. I'll be unpicking these while I watch the ending of the Olympics this weekend, and then I'll start working with them. I've got a few other projects to finish with quilts soon, but I will be starting to do a linen quilt soon, and I'm still doing a little bit of homework because there's certain techniques I need to get right before I start cutting into these fabrics. For now, these will be added to my fabric stash. Right, so I hope you enjoyed my little journey into linens from Chester Town Centre today. This is Maggie, the Cheshire Crafter. Come back and join me again soon, won't you? Bye.